Welcome back, everyone. In this video, we are going to make our sign out into its own Saga. Now, the reason we have to is because even though Firebase is signing out the user, we are not aware that Firebase has done so because we don't have an auth listener anymore. So we need to now make this sign out process part of our actual sign out Saga. So to do this, we need to, once again, create the sign out trio. So we'll have our sign out start. We'll have our sign out success. And we'll have our sign out failed. Using these three, we now need to create the appropriate user actions. So when you think about it, with sign out, we actually don't need anything. All of signing out is going to just set everything to null. So as long as we succeed, technically, we don't need any payloads. So we'll say sign out start is just equal to us creating the action of sign out start. Then our sign out success is just us creating, there we go, create action, user action types, sign out success, and we need the same thing for our failed, which is just us saying sign out failed. Actually, this should be sign out success. Actually, sign out failed, we need the error. My apologies. Failed always has the error payload, but success doesn't, because success, we're just going to set it to null. So let's go into our user reducer. And this is what we're going to say. We want to say that on user action dot sign out failed, like so. This actually allows us to multiple match if you stack them like this. In fact, we even need sign up failed. That's another failure that we didn't account for, like this. And now we've accounted for all three. If sign in success, if sign in failed, sign out failed, sign up failed. Now we have our reducer set up. So we have our actions, we have our reducers, now we need our sagas. So for our sagas, we know that what we need to do is we need to listen for on sign out start. And also we need a call to our Firebase so that we can get the method that signs out our user. So here, what we are going to do is we are going to do a entry on sign out start like this, yield take latest, user action types dot sign out start. And here what we're going to call is sign out. Sign out is going to be a generator, and this is just going to receive nothing, as we know. What it's really going to try to do, though, is call our sign out user method, which we need to import in. This is what we've been using inside of our navigation. So now instead, we are going to wrap this inside of our try catch. So we're going to call sign out user. If this is successful, then we will say that sign out success, which this should have auto imported. If you didn't do it, you need to import it for your user action. And while we're here, actually, let's also bring in sign out failed, because we need sign out failed as part of our catch block. Like so. So that's our Saga. We have our sign out, which is being called by our on sign out start. And then we have to call it inside of our user sagas. And then the last thing to do is now to update our navigation component so that sign out user is calling sign out start. So we got to bring in our use dispatch. And now, instead of calling this Firebase utils version, we need to bring in the action creator from store/user/user action. Sign out start like so. We need to get dispatch from use dispatch. And then what we can say is const sign out user is a function that dispatches out sign out start like so. And now, if we go into our application, we see that we are signed in. If we hit sign out, there we go. That updates. But we notice that for some reason, even though our sign out success works, our user is still signed in. So this is where we need to account for it inside of our user reducer. We need to say that case user action types dot sign out success. We need to return state current user goes to null. So oftentimes when you see your code not working the way you expect it to, chances are you've missed one of these 10 different little nuances inside of Redux that prevented it from updating. Honestly, this is a very common thing. Notice how much we're typing, how much boilerplate we're adding. This is honestly one of the most annoying things about using Redux and Sagas. It's so much boilerplate. But the main thing is that if something's not working, you know the flow. Actions to reducers to Sagas, it's gonna be in there somewhere. You just have to figure out which one it is that you're missing. And now, if we come back, we refresh. Let's just make sure. We sign in. We see we're reflecting it. We sign out. There we go. We've signed out successfully. User, current user to null. That's it. All of our users have now been migrated over to Sagas. And this is the last of migrating our code over to Sagas. I know it's a lot. Honestly, it's overwhelming for me too. Every time I think about working with Sagas again, there is a lot of boilerplate to work through in order to get it to work. But Sagas are very powerful for this reason. Because of so much encapsulation inside of these generators, this coordination is present. Now, if this is challenging, don't worry. I'm completely with you. Sagas is challenging. A lot of this are very advanced patterns that honestly most intermediate React developers might not even come across with Sagas. So this is just one of those things that it's just part of the path of becoming a very advanced React user, is getting familiar with Redux and all of its ecosystem and figuring out when you need these libraries at scale. But you can see how with a lot of this, we're able to now encapsulate and control so much of the flow of data inside of our Redux system. So that's it. This is our lesson on Sagas. This is really the last of the more challenging and most potent parts of Redux that takes the hardest part to learn. So if you made it through, I really want you to pat yourself on the back because this is really challenging to have all done so soon. But now you understand Sagas. Let's move on with the rest of the course.